Spain received mountains of silver from across an ocean. It ruled territories on several continents, and yet its kings repeatedly ran out of money.
For a time, Spanish wealth seemed almost beyond calculation. Silver crossed the Atlantic in guarded fleets bound for Seville. Every legal cargo entered an administration built to measure empire. Coins were struck, taxes recorded, and royal claims carefully separated. From Madrid, the monarchy appeared to command an astonishing machine. Its possessions stretched from the Americas to Italy and Asia. Its armies defended crowns, ports, trade routes, and distant frontiers. Its court could spend tomorrow's silver with remarkable confidence. Bankers advanced money against treasure that had not reached Europe. The empire therefore looked rich even when its cash was absent. That distinction would prove rather important. The silver arriving in Seville often carried obligations from years past. War expenditure had already claimed much of each expected shipment. Revenue could enter the kingdom and leave the accounts almost immediately. The monarchy borrowed through short contracts and long royal annuities. Each solution made the next decision harder to calculate. Taxes from Castile carried a disproportionate share of imperial costs. Other territories retained privileges, exemptions, and their own institutions. The empire was united by a crown, not by one treasury.
Spain did not simply vanish when the money tightened. The monarchy survived, and the empire endured for centuries. What weakened was its freedom to respond, because yesterday's commitments kept consuming today's resources.
Philip II fought wars across several theatres at once. Money for Flanders travelled through bankers, exchanges, roads, and armies. A delayed transfer could leave soldiers unpaid hundreds of miles away. In 1557, the Crown suspended payments to major creditors. This was not modern bankruptcy, with the monarchy closing its doors. It was a forced renegotiation of debts the Crown could not service. Credit returned because lenders expected future taxes and American silver. The crisis therefore ended without removing its underlying commitments. Spain could borrow because its future appeared magnificently valuable. That future was being spent to preserve an expensive present. Meanwhile, prices across Spain had risen sharply during the 16th century. American bullion contributed, though Europe's price revolution had several causes. Higher prices weakened purchasing power long before policy fully recognized it. Imported goods absorbed silver that had barely entered Spanish hands. The metal belonged to Spain politically, but circulated through Europe economically. In 1575, another payment suspension disrupted the machinery financing war. Transfers froze, contracts stalled, and military arrears accumulated in the Netherlands. The financial problem had travelled outward and returned as political disorder. By 1596, the Crown suspended payments yet another time.
Here is the peculiar danger. A system can appear wealthy while its future income is already committed. The decision and the consequences then belong to different moments, which make responsibility remarkably difficult to see.
Every suspension converted an immediate emergency into another layer of obligations. The accounts filled with juros, asientos, taxes, exemptions, and competing claims. Complexity did not cause every weakness, but it slowed meaningful response. Royal councils examined problems through separate jurisdictions and inherited privileges. A reform acceptable in Madrid could fail elsewhere in the monarchy. A tax assigned to creditors could not easily fund a fresh crisis. A fleet's cargo could be valuable yet unavailable to the Crown. The empire possessed resources that its system struggled to mobilize. Policy increasingly repaired the next payment rather than the whole structure. In 1607 and 1627, payment suspensions returned under later kings. The recurring crisis was not mysterious, it was structurally postponed. Spain's cultural brilliance made the contrast especially striking. Cervantes and Velázquez belonged to an age of splendor and strain. The empire could produce masterpieces while its fiscal choices narrowed. Visible splendor did not reveal how many revenues were already promised. Nor did one crisis announce the full cost of earlier decisions. The monarchy survived, but its strategic freedom had contracted. By the time consequences became obvious, many choices had disappeared.
Spain's warning is not that wealth is useless, it is that wealth can postpone truth. When consequences arrive late, a system may look successful long after its choices have become unsustainable, and by the time the bill is visible, the room for choice may be painfully small.